It takes me a long time to stand, but we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll wait till everyone's ready. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I haven't been consistent with the land acknowledgement, but we've been doing it off and on. Maybe we'll be better, but I acknowledge that I live and work on Tlingit Unease, so I don't know if I said that right. But anyway, welcome everyone. We have AmeriCorps visitors who will be introducing themselves and talking later, so I hope it's okay to skip any type of embarrassing introductions right now, unless you want to stand up and say something. But we'll just embarrass you later. So I've warned you. So it's fair now, right? We've got hecklers on the back row, and then everyone else is a gentleman. Okay. They're pointing at each other. Anyway, and I'm going to change the camera. So it's looking at the room. Actually, Catherine, this is Catherine's month, so I'll stall a little bit for her. Let's do announcements. Who's got a Rotary announcement? John.
People ask why I get here early, so that I can receive the benefit of their hard work. So thanks to Dave and to Janet for turning in a couple of books this week. And Mr. Richards, in his own indomitable fashion, has advised me that his 80 tickets are ready to be turned in. So we're actually 100 tickets farther ahead than I thought we were, which puts us at 3,723. So we're in really good shape. Not sure what we're going to do with the last month and a half or 2 months when we don't have tickets to sell, but we'll find something. Thanks for your time.
But again, for our AmeriCorps guests, the annual duck race is our major fundraiser, and we've got a lot of people working hard. John, I call him, is more commonly known as the duck father, and he wears his duck hat everywhere, most everywhere. He got duck pajamas, I understand. But he looked at me. I'm not going to tell who told, but anyway, we've been selling out as we've increasingly got more members involved, and so we buy more ducks, then we sell out again, and we're on track after buying another 1,000 ducks to sell out. But all the money we earn comes back to charitable organizations within the community. So the Rotary really is a good charitable organization, and it's a good fun and fellowship hub too. We always have a lot of fun together. Dave?
Just a comment for the visitors. You are not exempt from being hit up to buy duck tickets.
If you've thought about it in years past, the prices have gone up, so it's more worthwhile this year. Go ahead.
Did you say how many ducks there were?
We have 6,000 ducks this year. Is that correct, John? Okay. And Sarah just kind of told Sharon and I that she's probably going to rejoin Rotary, right?
Right, yeah.
Round of applause.
Yep. I'll come back to Rotary. If I can bring you AmeriCorps member.
Will we let her bring AmeriCorps members? Everyone shout yes. Yes. Absolutely, you're welcome. But if it's been a few years since you've been in Rotary, we could have been like down at 3,000 or 4,000 ducks back then. So 6,000 now, and we find good causes for all those funds back in the community. Any other Rotary announcements?
There's non-Rotary now. Carrie's
Okay.
Carrie has one.
Okay.
Carrie has one.
Oh,
And two,
sorry.
one is the animals.
Carrie, start again. You're kind of breaking up.
I think I'm going to break up. I'm gonna put it in the chat and maybe somebody can, speak it for me.
Well, we can hear you
I've been
clearly.
having that trouble.
We can hear you
so-
clearly. We can hear you clearly now. Do you want to try again?
Okay, so Animal Shelter has their design out to a designer. So they've been working on it. Their email's going to my junk mail. So any feeling that there wasn't communication going on was a problem with junk mail. And then the other announcement is Jennifer Grant, a key teacher, was moved by efforts of the Rotary to raise money for Shelter Box. So her classroom voted to donate $150 for a Shelter Box for a one gift card. And to elaborate the letter to the editor thanking the children, or is there somebody in the Rotary with that?
So what she said was that,
Translation?
Mrs. Grant's fifth grade teacher, she's a fifth grade teacher, her class decided to donate $150 towards the shelter box because of the, basically the work that, I think, Harry did with the fundraising and the letter to the editor. And Sonic Johnson asked me to do a thank you for that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we got the communication carried. Thank you. So, yeah, the board, or someone on the board will take care of writing a letter. Thank you letter.
Thank you.
Other non-Rotary Rotary announcements, non-Rotary announcements?
I have a non-rotary announcement. Okay, I have to turn these in because I'm not gonna sell them all and I need somebody else to sell them. But I still have the tickets for the graduation, classes, all-night party. My daughter's graduating this year, so I'm trying to help them do some fundraising. Said they are $50, so they're kind of spendy tickets, but they go towards the all-night party to keep the kids safe. It's, no drugs, no alcohol. There's adults with them all the time. But they get to go out after graduation and have a fun event. Anyway, so if anyone wants any, just let me know. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. I think Jeff had his hand up before you.
I'll defer to Mr. Stedman there, and I'll follow
Okay.
him, because that's more fun.
I didn't quite hear, how much did the class raise for the shelter boxes?
150.
150? So is the club gonna put any money in there? If not, Stedman Insurance will donate the rest to get a shelter box in their name.
Okay. So the board had talked about rounding up depending on how the money came in.
You gonna round up to 1,000? Sure.
We already sent in a check for 3,000.
Okay.
We've raised,
Well, I just want the kids to get the credit for a shelter box.
Yeah. So we can still do another shelter box per Carl's generous offer, correct?
of course.
Okay, so, yeah, Carl, if you'll round up 850, help the class get a shelter box in their name. Thank you. And if anyone else wants to chip in with Carl, I think he's got it, but if anyone else wanted.
I'll be talking to you this afternoon for a loan.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. That's very generous. Kari, did you hear that?
I did. I'm just so delighted that I'll report back to those children.
And make sure you say Stedman Insurance 2 or 3 times. Because no one knows who Carl is. But anyway, Jeff, did you have something?
Yes, sir. So the 100th anniversary of the public library is coming up April 1st. This weekend, the 18th, the Friends of the Library meeting at 10 a.m. at the library. It's an annual meeting, so if anybody would be interested in participating with that group, they'd be welcome. It's a bagel bar, thanks to Miss Kari. And then on April 1st is an actual celebration. There'll be music. It's Annelle and her band. There'll be, what is all the other stuff? Children's stuff. There'll be a quick ceremony. There'll be a costume business. An art show and all kinds of things like that down at the Centennial Building in the library. And then way down the road, April 20th, there's going to be a library pub quiz, which is essentially a trivia thing with teams of 3. That is all I have. Thank you, sir.
All right, anything else? I'll turn some time over to Catherine. That you always do a great job scheduling and introducing, so.
I have a system.
Yes, and you had finished your last bite, so the timing is perfect. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So today is a program I always look forward to. It's always fun to get to meet some of our AmeriCorps. I came here as an AmeriCorps myself. It wasn't through Sarah's program. Mine was housed out of New Mexico, but you guys provide a lot of great things to our community. So Sarah's going to introduce the program and the AmeriCorps members that we have with us here today. Sarah Laurie has been the director of the AmeriCorps program here in Sitka for 7 years. She inherited it from Faith Lee, and she was born and raised Sitkan and a lapsed Rotarian, and that's all good. So I want to welcome Sarah and just hand it over to her.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay, let me just clear this out real quick.
Who are you talking to?
Glad we have guests who can run the machine.
What?
Okay. Hello, everybody. I know a lot of you, but not everyone. I've had the privilege of being in charge of the Sitka AmeriCorps program for about 7 years, but it is older than that. So it's been in Sitka for maybe 15 years. Previously under Faith Lee, who many of you probably know, and then before that, Kurt Ledford. So it has had a number of different incarnations. It hasn't been a static program that stayed the same for 15 years. It has grown and changed, and ideally grown and changed as the needs of the community change. So in its current incarnation, this year I have 9 members. I've had as many as 35, but this was a rough year. Like many of you, staffing and same, whatever's going on nationally is also affecting people wanting to do a year of service. So I was able to get 9 members this year, and my goal is usually about 20. So hopeful for next year. But I did want to share that the AmeriCorps program is grant funded. So every 3 years I'm writing a grant to the federal government asking them for money to fund the Sitka AmeriCorps program and bring these members here. And I'm in my 3rd year of 3, so I'm about to recompete for funds. So I'm interested, and this is kind of, maybe I'll just let you think about it and then try to remember to ask again at the end, but what do you see as the needs of the community? What do you see out there that you'd like to have AmeriCorps members mobilized and help with? Right now we have members in the schools, in mental health, and other select nonprofit organizations, but because I'm about to recompete, and because things have changed so much since COVID, I am really curious if anybody had just any thoughts about that, the direction of the program. I mean, it's up to me, I'm writing it. So I'm just gonna put that little bug in your ear and commence here with the official presentation. Let's see. Okay, actually, who would like to define AmeriCorps for me that isn't an AmeriCorps member? What do you guys think it is? What is it? I'm gonna go back so you can't read that. Yes, sir.
The 6th branch of the armed services. Okay.
I think they'd like it to be perceived as that, but.
I was hoping for more laughter.
I forgot my pin today too. Anybody else, what do you think AmeriCorps is?
Free
Jeff.
labor. It's a service organization.
It is a service organization.
But Jeff's an AmeriCorps member too, or alumni.
Right, oh yes, he has an unfair advantage, doesn't he? He did 4 terms if I remember correctly, so. Anybody else that just has like a vague I kind of know what AmeriCorps is, but I don't really. Somebody said free labor.
And free training in your
Yeah.
position. If you're-
Yeah, that's true. Yep. In the back.
I see your people every place, so volunteering, helping,
Yeah.
just all over the
Yeah.
Our note caller.
They are all of those things. They are not the sixth branch of the military, but they're a corps because the National Service Act, created in the 90s, AmeriCorps was formed under that, and the idea was, we want citizens to do a year of service to their communities. What kind of program can we create that's going to encourage domestic service? That's basically what it is. So a lot of people, if I say it's like a domestic Peace Corps, that sticks. So it's like the Peace Corps, people who want to give, they want to serve, they want to move to a new place and totally let go of everything they knew, and make a huge financial sacrifice to come and serve in our community. So AmeriCorps is a federal agency, and this is the official tagline here. Brings people together to tackle the country's most pressing challenges through national service and volunteering. They serve with organizations dedicated to the improvement of communities. And it helps to make service to others a cornerstone of our national culture. That is something I have really grown to love about AmeriCorps, at least as an ideal, is the idea of service and the idea that, I mean, I really kind of think every person should have to do a year of service, but AmeriCorps is one way to do it if you don't want to go in the military. They have these official focus areas that they want all of the programs to kind of slot neatly into. I can't say that we totally do, but the thrust of my application is around education and healthy futures. Here is our mission. This is what I wrote into the grant. This is what I said. I'm applying for federal funds. This is what I'm going to do with them. I am going to mitigate the negative effects of high ACE scores, which are adverse childhood experience scores, if anyone didn't know that are prevalent in rural Alaska. And to do this, I will have my members serve in different organizations through town and build relationships that increase resiliency. So everything they do at their service, the idea is that through their relationship with the beneficiaries they serve, and through every tiny little piece adds up to a whole and builds resilience, I guess. So every little activity they do in a day, every time they support a youth, every time they do tutoring or take kids kayaking or whatever, all of that is adding up to increase resilience. What do? They do a lot. There's 75,000 members a year. Here in Sitka, as I said, I have members in the school, so they do academic support. There's mental health support. They help build life skills for youth that maybe are in rehabilitation or residential facilities. They do tutoring or homework help. They offer enrichment activities. That's everything from hikes to book club to drama club that Mrs. K offered. So there's a lot of room in the program for the individuals to bring their own love and talents to their service. So again, it's not like a static thing. It tends to evolve and grow depending on who the members are. What is a year of service? It's a year. It's 12 months and 1,700 hours minimum. Like the military or Peace Corps, again, it's this idea of serving your nation, an ethic of civil service. The program model, I think, is successful and also challenging. So in their wisdom, the AmeriCorps higher-ups said, what would be the best way to tackle local needs? we'll have programs all across the nation, and we'll have program directors that figure out what the needs are in the local community, which is great because it keeps it kind of grassroots and keeps it from getting too top down. What's hard about it is there's a lot of confusion about AmeriCorps because there's so many different things going on. People don't really understand what AmeriCorps is as a brand, I guess. But that's because of this model where each community leader is given the opportunity to create a unique program. So no two programs are the same, and you can't really look at the website and gain a lot of understanding about AmeriCorps because that's kind of the official national stuff, but it's very different from what happens on the ground in Sitka, right? Different programs that we had, you've probably heard of some of these. I bet most of you have heard of Vista. There's a lot of those. That's Volunteers in Service to America. What is different about their program from mine is they have a, I want to say mandate, but I'm not quite sure that it's mandated, but they have an anti-poverty focus. So whatever a Vista does has to be in some way to alleviate poverty. And they are behind the scenes type members. So they do more capacity building, whereas my folks do direct service. Person-to-person service is what AmeriCorps State and National is. And then the NCCC, we've had those in town before too. They are more like a FEMA kind of, they mobilize these people and they go 3 months here and they build trails and they build houses and they do kind of hands-on projects and then they move to another spot and they do that for a year. That's the NCCC. And there's an age limit there, 18 to 24, I think, for NCCC. What do they get? Well, you're going to have a chance to ask them personally what they get out of it, but this is what I see. They get a living allowance. We offer health benefits. There is an award at the end of service, and my slide isn't updated. It's actually $6,895 now for the education award. That's when you're finished serving and you can use that to pay for education or student loans. They get professional development that I think John said. Yeah, it's like an internship. It's a chance to learn skills on the ground that you probably aren't going to get any other way, realistically, unless you do an internship. And then they get placed with employers in Sitka, and many of them, as I bet a lot of you are aware, end up staying in Sitka and become employed in Sitka. So there's all kinds of alums throughout Sitka continuing to do really good work. We also do 3 days of service. We do MLK Day, 9/11, and then a third day where we all come together and do different projects of service to the community. I'm sure Rotarians can appreciate. It's just some of our things that we've done. A study revealed that serving with AmeriCorps does have longer term benefits, I guess you could say, or effects downstream, because it raises awareness of public issues, it raises awareness about volunteering, having an ethic of service, and this is borne out by the data of AmeriCorps alumni that are surveyed and are more likely to be engaged in civic life after having done AmeriCorps service. And then here's some employment stats for after pre and after AmeriCorps service. So it also, not only does it help engage civil service thinking, it helps people get jobs too. And that's all I have for now, I think. Who has any questions for me before we get to hear from the important people right here? Yes.
Can you, pardon me, can you share with the group what it means by livable wage? Because I feel like
It's not.
well, yeah, but I think like people in the community don't realize just how much
Yeah.
that
The
these
sacrifice it
people
is.
are
Yeah.
giving, and so
Yeah.
you know.
So right now, the living allowance for Sitka is $1,500 a month before tax. So, right, so you can imagine one of the biggest struggles for me is finding somewhere for people to live. So I'm gonna put that plea out there right now for anybody. We always need more housing, and we need downtown housing because there's often not vehicles and people are walking. And in order to find something in that price range is it's really tough. So I have had members stay at the dorms, however they, SFAC, Fine Arts Camp, but they do get kicked out over the summer, which in previous years was okay, but last year, you know, with the tour ships and everything coming in, it was impossible to find housing in the summer. Impossible. There are people on couches, on boats, and I don't want to really promote that. So, yeah, so it isn't, thank you for saying that, Catherine. It is quite the sacrifice, and I want to do whatever I can to support them because they're already giving a lot by living in Sitka, Alaska, at $1,500.
Sarah, thought, you know, the old Potlatch Motel was bought by the seafood producers in order to house temporary labor. And I don't know anything about the quality of the facility, but during the off-season, which the AmeriCorps volunteers are here for quite a bit of a time,
Yeah.
there might be some opportunity there.
Yes, could you remind me where that is? Where's the old potlatch?
Oh, you know where the old STA building now?
Yeah,
It used to be attached to that property.
okay. Oh, gotcha, yes, okay, I'm with you.
And so Sarah, you're saying that you don't provide housing for them, even if you find it, they are paying for their housing out of that $1,500 a month.
That is what I am saying,
Okay.
yes. Some of the other programs like Vista do pay for housing, and so do JVs. However, the living allowance is less for members. For instance, the JVs I know get $1,000 a month, but their housing is paid for. Because I am housed within the Sitka School District, I am not at liberty to act as a landlord as much as I would prefer to, because I think it might solve some problems. But yeah, they have to pay for their housing out of that. Thank you. Lauren?
Could they go to Edgecombe dorms during the summer?
I'm working on that, perhaps. Yeah, there's interest at least. But of course, being a state entity, there's some hurdles. Yeah,
I've always thought it's kind of a shame that they sit empty in the summer.
I agree. And there might just be enough pressure now to make it happen, maybe. Yeah. John?
This is sort of a joke, but this is an obvious opportunity to pitch shelter boxes.
You said they're $1,000 a box?
Well, yeah, but that's for the summer, so it's actually a couple $100, and, you know, gosh.
Not running water.
And walk down by the water, we could put them right out here on the apron.
On the target.
One
Yes,
other
sir.
thought, you know, the Sheldon Jackson, or the old Sheldon Jackson campus, now the Fine Arts Camp,
Yeah.
may have extra space.
They do, and actually they're really affordable, and they are a great partner. I just run into problems because the camp is in the summer, and then the members have to move out in the summer, and then previously, yeah, it wasn't such an issue, but it's just become really untenable to have people not have housing in the summer. Yeah.
The summer will always be the challenge.
It's true. It just seems like it's gotten worse from my perspective. Previously, people could kind of find places to go, and now it's like, I'm homeless. Yeah. Anything else?
Sure, I have a question.
Yes, hi.
Hi. So I wondered how, so you talked about the different projects and things that the AmeriCorps do throughout the year, but I wonder how do you have host organizations, or do you have assignments out if there was a project or something, say that the chamber was doing and wanted support? How does that kind of work as far as, is there an opportunity for like an intern that could come and work in our office, or? Yeah.
That's a good question. How it works is people I have a cast of partners that typically want a member or more every year. So I kind of already know they're going to be a host site partner. And then I get other people that approach me with ideas and would like to host an AmeriCorps member. And we just try to figure it out through a conversation. You know, if it's suitable, I mean, the big thing that we have to be really careful about is the perception that AmeriCorps members are taking jobs away from the community. So the position descriptions just need to reflect activities that are value added or like an extension of what we can offer, that kind of thing. As far as like specific events, the members will say yes to this, but I get a lot of requests from the community. Hey, we're doing such and such, you know, do any of your people want to come and get hours? And I pretty much always say yes, because I see it as an important part of retention and just, you know, supporting the community. And there's just a course that somebody at your organization would have to go through to sign off on the hours, but it's 1 hour and it's free. So we could look at that too, but if you want to talk more, I'd be happy to talk with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you an email.
Okay.
And I guess I just would also share that we're in the process of putting together a young young professionals group, and so there might be some opportunity to engage with your group, and so more to come on that. We're really excited about that initiative that the chamber is going to be doing this year.
I look forward to hearing more about that. We were just in Anchorage, and one of the panelists was the chair of the young professionals. Yeah, so that's great.
Yep. Yeah, great.
Okay. Can we have AmeriCorps members come up now, please?
We get to stand behind something too.
Okay, you go behind there and I'll go right here then. How about that?
I'll stand here.
Okay, so if we could start maybe with, well, I will introduce the members, and then I think we'll just go to questions, because I'm sure you have good questions for these lovely people. This is Alden Lee. He is serving with Sitka Counseling. And Michelle Calrooney is at Blatchley Middle School. Marnie Rydell serves with Mount Edgecombe High School, and Anastasia is with Sitka Counseling. She is on her 2nd year of service. She previously served with Youth Advocates of Sitka. So what do you want to know? Jeff?
Where are y'all from, and why did you decide to do this, and what do you think about Sitka?
Okay, 3-part question. You want to go first, Alden?
Sure. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. We're about 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I did this directly after college, after undergrad. I went to school in Asheville, North Carolina. So I'm a Southerner. I've always lived in the South before coming up here. I initially was at Mount Edgecombe High School, and then I transitioned over to Sitka Counseling. I majored in psychology in college, and I wanted to get experience working in the mental health field. I do direct service. That's about 50% of my job at Sitka Counseling. The other 50% is developing the ecotherapy program for the family center there, to where kids can go in and learn about ecology a little bit, while also having kind of a structured healing approach to being outside in nature. Kind of trying to build a proper foundation for them to where they can go out and understand the natural world a little bit more and use it to heal themselves later on in life, hopefully. So I wanted experience with program development, and I wanted experience in the mental health field. And I wanted to live in Alaska. I always wanted to go where the mountains meet the sea, and I think Sitka checks that box.
Well, I'm Michelle Calrooney, and I'm originally from Ohio, but I've lived all over the place, including Sao Paulo, Brazil for a couple of years. And I did a fellowship at Notre Dame, and one of the directives and intentions of that was to kind of figure out what you wanted to do when you grew up. And I looked into the Peace Corps. Sadly, the Peace Corps just redeployed people from COVID, and my husband also serves with me. So we looked and looked through AmeriCorps. Our recruiter advised us to do that, and I found Sitka, and Sitka is so smart because they say 25 years old to 90. So, and you know I'm the youngest member, but Sitka's age me. Anyway, that's how we ended up here, and I'm thrilled to be here. I have served throughout my life in various entities. Served as a middle school teacher for many, many years, and here I am at Blatchley. I do remediation and enrichment and cook hot dogs on the grill and laundry and whatever it is they need me to do, I do it, and it's been joyous, and I'm so happy to be in Sitka. It's awesome.
Hey, well, I'm Marnie. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and then I went to college in Missouri. I studied interdisciplinary studies with concentrations in sports and recreation, psychology, and communications, and I had no idea what I wanted to do after college, so I got the most broad degree that I could think of. But, you know, I knew that after college I wanted to do AmeriCorps. My sister did it, my dad did it, my aunt did it, my cousin did it, so it was kind of just in the family. And out of everyone in my family, I was always known as the person to go to the very strange places. I went to Missouri for college, which no one even knew where Missouri was in my family. And so then I decided that I wanted to go to Alaska, and everyone thought that I was crazy. And now I'm here, and they're all very jealous of me because we have better weather here than we do in Buffalo. But yeah, I work over at Mount Edgecombe High School. I serve as recreation staff. So I get to do all the fun stuff with the kids. So I'm basically like an older sibling to them, and I get to take them on hikes and do crafts with them. And you know, today I'll make pizzas with them, and then I sit through study hour with them, and I help the freshman boys, you know, learn how to do math as I also learn how to do math. And it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I came to Sitka because I think it's the most beautiful place. So.
The where I'm from question's always a loaded one. My most recent location before I moved to Alaska last year was New Mexico, but I am originally born and raised in Russia, and then was adopted, moved to the US, spent some time on the East Coast, then moved to New Mexico. Before moving to Alaska, I spent 2 years living out of my Jeep and traveling all over the US, trying to just get all the states in. And then I moved here. I also have a background in working in mental health and psychology. I'm pursuing a doctorate in that. However, that's been a very long battle and arduous, and it's still continuing. So when I moved here, I did so because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. At the time, I'd been working in wilderness therapy. I really enjoyed it, but I wanted to do something different. A few of my friends had done AmeriCorps, so that's why I looked into it. I had looked into the Peace Corps, did not think it aligned with all of my values, so I decided to do AmeriCorps instead. I ended up in Sitka by chance. I want to be working outside of the country, internationally, doing nonprofit programs and developing mental health programs internationally, and in order to do that, I needed more experience working in like at-risk communities, in impoverished communities. And although that is not necessarily Sitka, when I was looking for programs, I needed something that did not start in August, because I was at a Buddhist monastery at the time and couldn't leave. And so I needed a program that started in January, and so I applied to refugee programs, I applied to mental health programs, in like Puerto Rico and Guam. If you don't know, we work in US territories as well. And then New England and Alaska. And these were all the places that I wanted to go to in the US that I hadn't been to yet. And Sarah was the only one who emailed me back and told me like, yeah, you can start whenever you want. And here's all these different programs that you could try. She sent me like 30 for schools, and I was like, nope, never gonna work in a school, I cannot be a teacher. And then she sent me a couple with mental health, and so I ended up applying with Youth Advocates of Sitka last year. I worked over at Hanson House, or served at Hanson House, and I loved it. But then I knew I wanted to do another year because I'm actually using the educational stipend to pay for my degree. I'm trying not to take out loans. So in order to do that, I'm finding other alternatives to paying for my degree. So I was like, okay, another year of AmeriCorps can help me do that, but I didn't want to do the same thing. And in all of my experience, it's always been direct care, and the one thing I've never done is like macro work and working from like program development. So I joined the prevention department at Sitka Counseling, where now I'm learning how to develop programs, how to work with politics and government entities, how to work with like smaller communities and like the Tribe of Alaska and SAFE and SAIL and all these different people. And I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot, so it's been really fun. But yeah, I like Sitka for its nature. I'm a nature person, so yeah, long-winded answer.
That's a good answer. I'm curious actually to hear, now that we're in March, now you've got a year of experience under your belt, but everyone else started in August. That's the traditional start date, is August 1. So we're now in March, and I'm just curious how you see this, how this experience has influenced what you will do going forward, maybe. That's the question.
Yeah, it's influenced what I'm going to do going forward quite a bit. Just getting the real experience working in a counseling center, working with kids. I never thought that I was going to work with the population that I work with. The little kids, I work with like 6-year-olds and stuff, and that always kind of they just gross me out alone. Not to I don't understand them, but so it's created a lot of new perspectives with that and working with that population. Also, just seeing the inner workings of a real counseling center has been really interesting. Working in a nonprofit, I've never worked for a nonprofit either, so understanding that has definitely been beneficial. Another part of my service is I'm training to become an EMT as well with the Sitka Fire Department this spring. That's been super interesting and super exciting. I really like that work, and that was unexpected. EMT school costs thousands of dollars, and you get to do it for free in Sitka, which is amazing. And so that opportunity has been really enlightening and opened up a whole kind of new realm of work that I wasn't expecting.
Thank you. Well, that's a really good question, Sarah, to which I am still fishing around for answers. When I lived in Brazil, the International Rotarians had a very, very strong presence there. I did a lot of work in the favelas and the NGOs and so forth. And I was like, who are these Rotarians and how do I get involved? And now maybe I know. So I'm kind of looking about for organizations that have a strong track record and someplace to kind of go to in my next journey. I haven't ruled out the Peace Corps, though I'm looking at shorter stints. Right before Sitka, I was involved with a boarding school in Uganda, Kolongo, Uganda, in a very rural, very, very impoverished area, and I'm thinking about going back there just for a couple of months through a program that I worked with in the university. I don't know, I'm casting a wide net, and that's what I'm doing, but I would echo your thoughts. Sitka has been unexpected in so many ways, and people here are like beautiful onions you just peel away, and everybody is so multi-talented, multifaceted, and welcoming, so thank you for that.
I still have no idea what I want to do. I originally came here, and I come from a family where everyone is in education. My dad was an administrator. My grandparents were teachers. My aunt, everyone. My sister's a teacher now, and so everyone kind of wanted me to be in education, and I just did not have any want to go into that. I've worked with elementary and middle-aged students, and now I'm with high schoolers, and I've kind of realized that high schoolers are my favorite to work with. I get along with them the best. And so, being in Sitka, I've kind of realized that, and I think especially the kids at Mount Edgecombe, like, I cannot speak enough good things about them. They are the most amazing kids, and they're so kind and so helpful and so aware. And I think that, they've helped me realize that, like, maybe my dad has been right and I should go into school counseling or something like that, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure that's what he's rooting for, but I still have no idea.
My life plan has always been to not live in the US, to live in India or Africa or Central or South America or Russia or anywhere else, because I see a huge need in our smaller communities that are impoverished, that don't have access to basic needs, who are still like trying to catch up to the 21st century, because as we're advancing, we're kind of leaving them behind. And in doing that, we're also taking away like a lot of their valuable resources. So my goal has always been to find myself there. Before, I had no idea how I was going to do that. I just knew I wanted to be in any other country but the US. As I've gotten older and worked in mental health, I've realized like psychology is how I want to do that through mental health. I think that a lot of us forget that all of our experiences, it impacts our mental health, and how that impacts our mental health then impacts our physical health, how we interact with others, what we do, how we allow ourselves to show up for everyone else around us in our community. And if that's not balanced, then all those other steps are less achievable. It's harder to get there. And what I've seen in many other countries is mental health is the least recognized conversation. It's the one that's happening not at all in some areas, and I want to start that conversation and get dialogue going, get some programming started. So that's what I'm hoping to do, and Sitka has taught me that like, it's possible to do that, and there are a lot of different ways in which I can do that. And I've never worked with an Indigenous community, and what I've learned working specifically with an Indigenous community is that I have a lot to learn on how to communicate with others, how to recognize other people's needs and cultures and communities, and I'm like really excited to just keep being able to do that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Any other questions? Norm?
Well, not really a question. And you folks probably already know this, but when you go to school, the traditional route is until you get a good education and you get a good job. But in fact, there's two others. One is a subset, but you can be an entrepreneur. You can go out and you can start your own business. And the first subset is, of course, for profit. The second one is that you can start recognize a need and then start a nonprofit to meet that need.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I don't have a question, or I have I guess a comment.
Okay.
We're going to do a wildlife tour, I think, on June 3rd, 3 o'clock, and we would invite all the AmeriCorps folks to join us.
Okay.
And we'll take care of that.
And I will say thank you for the fall tour. That was amazing. A lot of us got to participate in that.
Yeah, so do it
Thank
again.
you.
So just let the rest of the folks know. I'll be in touch.
June 3rd. Okay, will you email
I
me?
think it's June 3rd. I think it's 3 p.m. We're just waiting to hear back. None of you all work or do service at Allen Marine, so we'll find out.
No,
Nope,
but I'm looking
that's
for
not a
someone to
suitable
teach
site.
me to build a boat.
Actually, that makes me think, is Dan, are you still on the call? I'm curious about the
Oh, yeah.
Goddard cleanup.
We're bugging
Or
them.
does anybody, okay.
In the same
Okay.
ask for the wildlife tour, we also asked if we could use one of their crafts to go out to Goddard. And I think the idea is to have you all help if you want.
Yeah, that would be
So
great.
you might not be under it, but it's
Yeah.
in the works.
Okay, yeah, in years past, we've partnered with Rotary and gone to Goddard Hot Springs and done some maintenance, thank you. And yeah, it's usually fun.
And to be totally transparent, I haven't been there yet, but we need young, able-bodied workers, because we're not. Just
come on.
Come on, Laura.
Put it out
Well, okay,
there.
I'm not, but, so I have a question, and Sarah, you can answer this also. The Rotary is a service organization. We're also a fellowship organization where we, in the background, try to have fun with one another and interact. But as we're buying more and more ducks and selling more and more duck tickets, we have more and more money. So we want to be meaningful in the distribution of that money and even our time in the community. Have you guys noticed any glaring needs where a little bit of money, a little bit of time would make a big difference, on top of what you guys are already doing?
The transportation service that's reliable. I live way out on Sawmill Creek and I work over at Edgecombe, and I have to walk 45 minutes to work, and having something that's a bit more reliable. I mean, I like the bus system, but it doesn't always run, and so it's the difference between like leaving an hour earlier for work or hoping for the best and leaving like 20 minutes before work. I mean, and people are great about letting us borrow cars and stuff. I'm very thankful for that. You know, we do a lot of house sitting too. If anyone needs a house sitter or a dog sitter, let us know. And it's really great that they let us borrow their cars, so that is definitely a plus. But maybe just more money into something that's more reliable on transportation, because I feel like that would benefit a whole lot of people.
And we might need to use our connections to bug the city
Yeah.
to make it more reliable, but yeah.
And the number of bus stops out Solomon Creek, I use it, and it takes me 20 minutes to walk to the bus stop.
Yeah.
And that seems unfair. How about Point gets many more?
I know some needs that have come up through my services is that we have a lot of youth who could use transportation of their own, like bikes. We have the bike co-op, I know. The bike co-op is looking for bikes to help put out for the youth to utilize. Our Youth Advocates of Sitka Hansen House program, a lot of those youth tend to stay in Sitka. Most of them will go home, but a lot of them tend to stay in Sitka and move on to what's called the Transitional Living Program. And within that program, they're looking for housing to get into after that. They're looking for transportation of their own, whether that is a vehicle or a bike. They're looking for jobs or any sort of connection on finding something to get them started. So getting in touch with youth advocates and finding a way to assist those Hansen House youth would be really awesome, because I think a lot of them are, they kind of get a bad track record of being told like they're the problem children, and they come from other areas of Sitka or of Alaska and then go into our schools, and then the school says, oh, these are bad kids, and they're not. They're incredible kids, amazing, hilarious, very funny, very sarcastic, very fun youth who have just been handed the wrong life, and they're trying to fix that. And I think if we can help them do that, that would be awesome. The Sitka Counseling Prevention Department, right now, we're trying to get some funding to get a canoe up and running so that we can do some youth programming for our youth communities. We're working to get a women's club going, so we're looking for some funding there. We lack funding to get youth programming started. We don't lack funding in just getting snacks. Like, the best way to get youth anywhere? Food. We don't have a food budget. It blows our mind. We don't have a food budget. All of our programming is also grant funded. And if we don't have the grants, we don't have the ability. We're trying to start a youth coalition, and we can't because we don't have much to offer the youth outside of the fact that we exist and we have a desire. But that desire is not enough when we don't have funding. So if you have extra money or know of grants or anything that we could be doing to get more money into these two programs specifically, since that's where I've been, so I know there's a need there, like, that'd be awesome.
Sarah, can you be the point person and funnel that stuff to us? Because
Sure,
we do use duck money to do grants.
Cool.
Question or a comment. As regards bicycles, talk to the cops. Every year they auction off about 50 or so.
Okay.
And you know, you might be able to plug into that.
Cool.
A lot of them need work. It's another good project.
Yes. That reminds me, if you guys are not aware, I'm going to do an announcement.
Yeah, go for it.
Sitka Counseling Prevention runs what's called a HOPE Coalition. HOPE stands for Healing Our People and Environment. Bi-weekly Thursdays, we have a meeting from 3:30 to 5 at the Sea House, which is behind the little stone church there in town. That is the time that we all get together to look at needs of our community. Hope Coalition specifically works to mitigate substance misuse within our community and within the youth population, but we're always looking for representatives of any community organization to come and either talk about a need that they have that we can support, or come to support a need that someone else has. So if you're interested, come and join our conversation and see if there's anything we can do to help you guys, and vice versa. So totally should come to that. We have coffee and snacks.
Our son, who graduated from Georgetown University, went to the Peace Corps and was assigned to a village north of Vladivostok to teach girls in the high school English. He learned Russian. You speak very good English. Where did you learn that?
So here's a funny story. I know no Russian anymore. So Russian is my first language. I spoke it till I was 8. When I was adopted to Pennsylvania, I went to an English second language class before I entered elementary school. That's where I learned English. And I am so perfect at English for 2 reasons. The first is that I grew up being bullied for not knowing how to speak English. And so in my psyche, I decided to learn it the best I possibly could so that nobody would ever know I wasn't American. And the second reason I lost it is because I don't have anyone to speak Russian with. I was adopted, so my family doesn't speak Russian. I'm not connected to any of my birth family. So I just never had Russian in my community to learn. So when you've lost every piece of ability to learn or retain a language, it becomes really easy to learn English. So,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I would just remind you also that you are in the South again.
Yeah, I know, right?
Southeast.
Yeah, one southeast to another.
Good reminder. Okay, well, you can see that it's my pleasure and privilege to have such wonderful people come to Sitka and dedicate a year of their lives to our community, and it's just really valuable, and I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that you all can send some of that too. Appreciation for the AmeriCorps members.
If any of you would like to buy duck race tickets?
I think I'm going to try to help volunteer for the duck race this year.
Good.
I missed my chance last year. It was off by a week.
It's fun.
And the best time to buy a duck race ticket is when AC Lakeside has their barbecues, because you go buy a hamburger, hot dog, whatever they're selling, and you get a duck race ticket. So you get 2 for 1. Food and a duck race ticket. Thank you for being in Sitka. Thanks for your presentation. Thank you, Sarah. Did anyone have any other comments for the good of the Rotary Club?
Yeah, what's next week?
Oh, I left my list down there. Catherine.
It's a seaplane space. We'll learn about that from the city.
So next Tuesday.
Airport related that they're doing.
John.
And just a thought, it occurred to me that we're not promoting Rotary as an organization so much with the duck race tickets, and maybe we could put some stuff out to do that. I don't know whether there's a brochure or what have you, but.
We can be better at it. I mean, we've made some strides over the last year, but yeah, thanks for the reminder. But, I had something really wise to share. And it just lost it. So anyway, thank you. And you're welcome to attend meetings, with Sarah, in the future, right?
Yes, I'm
Anyway.
interested in the seaplane. Yeah.